Hello and welcome to a new season of Raising Healthy Mothers. I am now on season 14 and I am so excited to be back. After a month away, I went to Malaysia with my family for the first time in over 3 years and it was amazing. I've written quite a lot about it on Instagram, so you can head over there. If you're not following me already, I am at Tasha DeCruz on Instagram. But being away has really reminded me once again why it is that I do what I do, the nutrition side of things, because I always go away and I love the food. We have such a great time, but it really reminds me how far I've come, I suppose, when it comes to eating and my mindset around eating, because I enjoy myself as much as I can when I'm away. But I really notice the effect of not eating as much vegetables I might have liked to, eating quite a lot of refined carbohydrates, eating out a lot, all of those things which I do quite a lot when I'm in Malaysia. I really notice it when I come back. And it's not so much that I notice it in my body, although there's that a little bit. There's a bit of bloating. There's usually, my poos are quite different. As a nutritionist, I'm always looking at poos. But also just generally, I start craving colour and vegetables. It's my main thing. I always notice that I just feel lacking in vegetables when I have been away. So I've been back now we've been back now just over a week, and although I thought I would take things easy in the first week back, I have actually gone back to cooking a lot quicker than I thought and really just enjoyed the abundance of vegetables that we have here. Anyway, I wasn't actually here to talk about my holiday. As I said, you can head over to Instagram and have a look at some of the stuff that I've posted about it on there. So in this episode of Raising Healthy Mothers, I am talking about how to start listening to your gut and why it is so important. Now, I mentioned the fact that I have just been away and I have noticed a difference in my digestion and how I feel about myself. The thing is, life gets so busy, we often forget to take notice of our body's signal. We don't take that moment to check in with our bodies. I think what often happens actually is that we notice our bodies when we get to crisis mode. So when we're back from holiday, for example, where eating has been quite different for quite a long time, and we might notice that we're really bloated. Or we might notice that maybe around our period we get really bloated, or we have a really stressful time at work or at home, and we might notice that our digestion is kind of impacted. Or maybe when we catch a sickness bug, maybe that's the only time we notice our digestive system is just messed up. But our body is sending us signals constantly, and it's up to us to really tune in and take notice and maybe try and interpret what it is that it's trying to say. So I do think it's really important to listen to your gut, to listen to what your body is trying to tell you, because from a digestive point of view, when we know what our gut is telling us, we can start taking steps to improve it. And our gut has such an important role to play in our overall well-being as well. So in this episode, I'm going to talk about how to listen to your gut and why it's so important. So as I mentioned, taking note of symptoms, things like bloating, fatigue, mood shifts, energy levels is a really key part of understanding your body. Digestion isn't just about food. It's about how your body then deals with that food to make energy, to manage your mood and your emotions, and to give you that overall vitality, that wellness, that good feeling that we want to have most of the times when it comes to our health. Now, the cues and the symptoms to look out for your body and your digestion is going to vary from person to person. What works for one person, what is affecting one person's gut, is going to be completely different for another. And that's why in this episode, I'm going to break down all the symptoms to look out for and give you an insight into what your body might be giving you clues about. So what I want you to do by the end of this episode is to just become aware of your body's cues and to know when to think about it, when to take notice of it. And what can happen is that this can lead you to discovering patterns where your gut reacts in a certain way to certain food or to certain situations or, certain scenarios that happen repeatedly. And that is when you can see the clues on how to make quite easy, simple fixes that is going to make a huge difference to your health overall. So to start off with, how do you even start listening to your gut? How do you even start paying attention? So the first thing I suggest is, obviously we want to look at those kind of digestive patterns, the obvious cues and symptoms that you might notice around eating. So things like bloating, gas, constipation, they are potentially signs that something might need adjusting. It's not about having perfect digestion. It's not about absolutely feeling nothing at all, but it's about noticing whether things are different, whether things are particularly uncomfortable. Because what often happens is that we become so used to a specific symptoms that we don't even realize that it might not be normal. Because what is normal to us, what is so common that we don't even notice it anymore, actually could be a sign that your digestion is trying to tell you something. So if you often feel really bloated after a meal, maybe you feel really uncomfortably full, this can sometimes be a sign of food insensitivities, food intolerance, gut bacteria. Often we think we've just eaten too much, but actually if it happens repeatedly, even when you feel like you haven't even eaten that much, then that could be a sign that your gut is trying to tell you something. If you have a lot of undigested food in your poo, as I said, I'm a nutrition therapist, I love talking about poo. This can be a sign that the food is moving through your body too fast, or you're not chewing enough, or you have low stomach acid, or maybe insufficient enzymes that to actually deal with digesting the food. So the food just kind of moves through your body without it actually being digested. And that's a problem, because that means you're not getting the nutrients and the energy and everything that you want when you're eating your food. Let's make your food work for you. If you're often sleepy within an hour of eating, maybe that you feel like you have to really sit down, or you feel completely exhausted, or you want to take a nap within an hour after eating, that is definitely a sign that your food is not giving you energy. You don't want to get into that slump. You want to feel energized. If you often find yourself running to the toilet immediately after eating because you just can't hold something in, constant indigestion or reflux, if you don't ever have an appetite in the morning, or if you often notice that you're hungry within 2 hours of eating, sugar cravings after a meal, if you're the kind of person that's like, I must have a dessert, I must have something sweet, that could be a sign that your body has got into this habit of seeking something sugary to kind of give you that boost after eating. And this is often paired with that sort of slump later on as well. If you're very gassy, if you are flatulent or burping quite a lot, are you known for being a burper? Do you often do really smelly farts? Is it something that you laugh about with your kids? It is funny, but it could also be a sign that your gut isn't very happy. And another thing that I think a lot of people don't realize, if you're not doing a poo every day or most days, then that is definitely a sign that your food is just not working through it in your body fast enough, and that can cause problems as well. And then there are other symptoms as well that are linked to your gut health, but not in that obvious way, that kind of digestion way. So skin issues like eczema or acne can really be a sign that your gut is maybe not working quite well. What we often say in nutritional therapy is what you can see on the outside, so on your skin, kind of mirrors what is going on the inside. So if you do have skin issues, maybe they're seasonal as well, or maybe they're hormonal, that can be a sign that your gut health is maybe not quite optimal. If you often have brain fog after eating, if you get frequent headaches or migraines, if you have regular colds, maybe you don't heal from wounds very quickly, maybe you get frequent infections, there are signs that your immune system isn't working as well. And also hormonally, if you get PMS that lasts for quite a long time, or if they're very intense, or if you get very, very heavy periods, again, it could be a sign that your gut needs some attention. And those are the sort of symptoms that we don't necessarily link to our gut, isn't it? So those are the kind of things I want you to think about. But then you also want to be thinking about your energy levels. If you notice when you feel energetic, especially around eating, compared to when you crash, that can point to things like blood sugar imbalances, where you're not eating the right kind of food to give you the energy, but instead causing you to crash. Or it could be a sign of digestion issues as well. So if you're the kind of person that often has a mid-afternoon slump right after lunch, then it could be a clue that your body just isn't digesting well enough, or that you're not eating the right food to give you that long-lasting energy to get us through the day. Because we don't want to eat and then immediately have to have a snack or have something sugary or have caffeine within an hour or 2 hours after eating. You want your body to be able to eat, take time to digest, turn it into energy, and then to see you through the day until your next meal. Ideally, we're not actually snacking in between meals. Unless you're breastfeeding or you're pregnant, you shouldn't actually need to snack between meals too often. Your body needs the time to digest, and if we're constantly eating with snacking or grazing, then your body just doesn't get that chance to rest and digest and relax. In general, when I work with clients who clearly show a blood sugar imbalances, which quite honestly is most of my clients, then the first thing I do is I look at how much protein and carbohydrates they're eating at meal times. I look at whether they're snacking. As I mentioned, ideally we cut out snacking, although it really depends on the individual, and if they have a kind of schedule, which means that they can't have lots of meals, then we might look at how we can fit food in a way that works for them. Or I'm also looking at whether they're drinking and how much they're drinking, what they're drinking, because often, again, we kind of rely on certain drinks to see us through or to give us a pick-me-up, but that can be contributing to our energy slumps as well. So those are the kind of factors that I look at when I work with clients who clearly show up with blood sugar imbalances. But then I also make sure that we do a blood test, and that is going to show up any nutrient depletion that we need to work on across our time together. And I'm going to talk about that in a little bit as well. Then the third way that you can tune in to see how your digestion is affecting your well-being is to look at your mood. So our gut health has a really huge influence on our mental well-being. You may have heard of the gut-brain axis. So this is where the direct connection between our gut and the brain. And it works in both ways. Just as our gut influences our brain influences our gut. So your gut sends signals to the brain via the vagus nerve, that's the big nerve in your body. And then your brain can also influence your gut health. And your gut microbiome, there's trillions of bacteria in your digestive system, plays a huge role in producing mood regulating neurotransmitters, things like serotonin and dopamine, which are really important to see us through the day and to behave in the way that we expect to behave as human beings. I'm actually going to do a whole episode on the gut-brain axis later in the season, so if you're interested in that, then keep your eye out for that. But just coming back to what I want you to think about here is if you notice that you get really grumpy around meals, like maybe before you eat, you're like, I'm so need to eat, otherwise I'm going to blow my top. Or if you're quite anxious after meals, this could be a sign that something in your digestion isn't quite working for you to keep your mood stable and balanced across the day. So again, as I said, your gut and your brain are directly connected, and this can have a real impact on how you feel day to day. So those are your three things to take note of. Number one is obviously your digestive symptoms. Number two is your energy levels. And number three is your mood. And you want to look at these around your meals. So before meals, during your meals, and after your meals as well. Just really tune in and have a think about how you are being affected. Now, I mentioned about blood tests. Now, nutrient depletion can also be a factor for all of these three things. And that's obvious because if your digestion isn't working optimally, then you're not going to be getting the nutrients your body needs to function in the way that it wants to, because it's not going to be getting that food at all. So you might be eating perfectly, but if your digestion isn't working brilliantly, then that is going to show up in how you are, and that is going to show up in your blood tests as well. So blood tests can show nutrient depletion. It can explain the low energy, but we need to look deeper. Why are the nutrients low? It might not just be a case of not eating enough. When I look at blood tests, I think about, well, what is in their diet? Are they actually getting enough of that food in? And this is why I get my clients to do a regular diet diary to keep an eye on what they're actually eating. Is it maybe they're not eating enough of that food? For example, if you're vegetarian or you're vegan and it's quite hard to get things like iron in your diet, and you need to eat quite a lot of volume to get the iron that your body needs. So I would look at, again, that diet diary is really important there to make sure that they are getting the volume of food that they need. Or is it poor absorption? Is it your gut just not working optimally to actually digest the food? So things like iron and zinc and B12 and calcium are nutrients that are absorbed in this small intestine, but they need good stomach acid to actually break them down into smaller components for optimal absorption. Magnesium and folate are also absorbed in the gut, but they need good bacteria to metabolize properly. Vitamins A, D, E, and K are the fat-soluble vitamins, and so therefore you need healthy fat digestion to make sure they are absorbed, and that is dependent on having good bile production and healthy enzyme production. So that's the kind of things that I think about when I get a blood test. I look at, well, what is their diet doing? How much are they actually eating? Do they have any digestive symptoms? And are they actually able to absorb and metabolize these nutrients properly? And could that be the picture that we're getting with the blood test? So it's not just as simple as getting your blood test back and taking a supplement to address it, although that can help in the short term. But we don't want to take supplements long term. Certainly certain supplements you mustn't take long term, and you certainly shouldn't take things like iron without having a confirmed blood test of low iron, because it can easily build up in the body. But we want to get to a point when you are eating the right kind of food and absorbing the nutrients that you need from those foods. So that's that on paying attention and how to do it and what to actually look out for. But how do you actually do this? What are the real life strategies that can help you do this? Well, I always say start with at least a 3-day gut journal. So it can be really simple as writing down what you're going to eat, what time you eat it, and your environment when you eat it. Are you eating it sitting down? Are you eating it on the go? Are you working through your lunch, for example? These all have an effect on how well we digest. I am actually going to talk about that later in the series as well. And it can be so simple. What I often do with my clients is actually I use an online diary, and I get them to just take a photo of their food and just kind of rate their mood and their energy levels as well around that. It doesn't have to be complicated. And I say 3 days. I mean, when I'm working with clients, I look at 5 to 7 day diaries at least. But for your own purposes, start with 3 days. If you've listened to my podcast for a while now, you'll know that I'm really not into kind of constant tracking and kind of obsessiveness around food and kind of weighing things and so on. But it's just about getting those patterns and seeing what is coming up on a regular basis. It can just be a notebook. It can be just you taking photos and writing notes about it. It can just be really straightforward. And this is a tool that you can use anytime. You know, you might use it after a particular busy period. It might be around the seasons. So as the seasons change, you might notice the digestive changes. Maybe hormonally your digestive, so you can use it at any time. But it could be useful that once a month or so you just check in, especially if you are looking to make changes, because you want to notice what differences there are, because it's so easy to kind of make changes, get demotivated because you're not noticing the specific change that you're looking for, and then stop doing it. But actually, if you have a way of kind of keeping an eye on your goal that you're looking for, then that can really, really help to keep you going. And then on a more long-term basis, the second strategy is to just think about making it a daily habit to just do a quick check-in with your body. It's just about pausing for a minute before and after meals to see how your body is feeling, whether you notice any bloating, any fatigue, or if you just have any issues at all. It can help, again, just build that better understanding because you're really tuning in there. It couldn't just be really short, like just 10 seconds of thinking, how do I feel right now? Do I feel satisfied? Am I energized? Have I enjoyed that meal? This obviously helps you to become more tuned to your body, and that is going to ultimately lead to better choices when it comes to food and lifestyle. But also taking these mini pauses really helps to send signals to your body that you're about to eat. Now, I think I've mentioned this before in the podcast. I'm definitely going to mention it again in a later episode when I talk about mindful eating. But digestion starts in the brain. And that means that when your eyes perceive the food, when it looks at the food, when you smell the food, your mouth starts watering and your stomach starts gurgling. Those are all ways that your body is getting ready to receive the food. And so taking those mini pauses is just helping your body to understand that it's about to eat. And similarly, at the end, taking that mini pause can help you, give you that time for your body to catch up, because sometimes our body takes a little while to catch up with the idea that we might be full. So taking a little pause right at the end of the meal to just kind of go, have I had enough? Do I need to eat more? Do I need a second helping? Do I just want it because those roast potatoes are so delicious? And that's fine too. But just taking those mini pauses before and after your meal to kind of have that little mini check-in, just that sort of 10 seconds of how am I feeling, can really help your body to understand that it's about to eat and that it has finished eating. So remember, tracking your body is a really helpful way of just tuning in and listening to your body, giving your body a voice. It's really easy to forget how food or stress impact us until we look at that bigger picture. So when you track what's going on, when you keep in mind how you're feeling, you can see those connections that you might not have noticed if you just kind of sit down and eat without really thinking, and you just rush on with your day, or you're eating on the go, or you forget to eat as well. Now remember, tracking is not meant to be long term. It's just about doing it for a few days and just seeing those patterns that emerge, and then thinking about checking in around your meals, just a quick kind of 10-second check-in to just make sure that your body is ready to receive that food. You don't have to make drastic changes immediately. It's about noticing and understanding what your body is telling you. And once you have that information, then you can start thinking about what changes you might like to make. And if you do this check-in, if you do what I'm suggesting that you do, I'd love to know. If you notice something surprising or if you find patterns, let me know. Get on Instagram. I'm at Tasha de Cruz. Send me a DM and let me know what you've noticed. And I might be able to share some insights into why you might be experiencing a particular symptom and what you can do to help it as well. So remember, it's really important to listen to your gut and make those small intentional observations of what is going on, linking it to your mood and your energy as well as your obvious digestive symptoms. Now, I have created a brand new free guide for you. I've called it the Gentle Gut Guide, and I genuinely mean it when I say it's gentle. It's 5 days of emails, 1 email a day, where I just give you a very gentle prompt to think about what is going on in your body. And actually on the first day, I talk about what I've covered in this episode, and that's tuning in and checking in and seeing what your body is doing. So if you've already started that, then you are already ahead. And then after that, we have 4 days of simple ideas, changes that you can make to your diet that probably won't involve buying a lot of new food, just to give your gut a bit of care, a bit of love. Put yourself first for once, okay? And the idea is that over the course of 5 days, you can start learning to understand what you can do to calm your gut without the overwhelm. So this is obviously your first step into understanding what your gut is doing and making smarter, more personalized decisions around your food and health. And that's what's so important, is that you are you. You're not me and I'm not you. So what works for you is not going to work for someone else, and vice versa. And that's what nutritional therapy is all about, that personalization. Thank you so much for tuning in. I hope you found it useful. I'd love to know what you took away, and if you do the exercise, let me know what you noticed. Keep an eye out for those episodes that I mentioned that are going to dive deeper into gut health and nutrition. I can't wait to share some of the stuff that I know are going to help you without that overwhelm. Otherwise, I will see you next week for the next episode of Raising Healthy Mothers. Bye for now.